Hey everyone, Patch is here with me, Butley, and we are watching Tactics Ogre, episode 7, I believe. Oh, what are we doing? Obviously, this is post-commentated. So.
Hey, Butley, Patch is here.
Hey.
So, what are we up to?
We are driving forward towards the Dark Knights.
Excellent.
We have to fight our way through the Galgastani land, I believe, to get there. We're basically digging ourselves out of the little hole that we've got a tiny little southern nook of the land. This episode has a couple of interesting things with regards to the game. So we will shortly be going into a battle and having a look at that. I believe here I'm just showing off Sarah and crikey, what's the name of the knight? I'm really
Lancelot?
bad today. No, the two guys that Sir Leona left in our command.
I have no idea.
Yeah, he gave us.
I'm sure they're very important.
He gave us an archer, a Voltaire. There he is. He gave us an archer and a knight. They were working for him, and then his whole army got like destroyed, and then we rescued him. So he basically went back to the Duke and went, "Yeah, I have no army anymore," and he let us take these guys because they were no use to him on their own. And then Leonard joined us for this quest, so that's cool too.
Okay.
This guy's supposed to be Leonard's second in command, so he's cool. It's good just to have extra characters, have more characters. Now we're getting to the point where we're going to be getting into like 8 to 10 sort of characters in battle, so we have options now. It's always good having a second archer for those missions where you've got the planes and the range. And we go to the... how do you even pronounce that word? Archopolis?
Seems like a pretty good attempt.
Now... see what I mean? So we've got 8 out of 8 characters we can choose. And we've got 10 party members we can choose from. And it's just cool to have that option. Like, now we make choices. So I can't remember what I choose. It looks like I just said we're going to not use an archer.
You are using Donatello, though.
Yep. It's an alto.
No, I'm pretty sure he's a turtle. Or possibly a Renaissance artist.
He does look a little bit hunched, right? He could be hiding a shell. That's why he wears a big coat.
What's his class? Cleric?
Cleric.
Cleric's in a half shell.
So my plan with Donatello... oh... actually no, let's have a look at the mission. I'll explain it in a minute. So we come in the middle of a conflict. I'm like so tempted to try and voice some of these characters, but that would just be embarrassing.
I think there's too many characters.
Well, just like in this, just do both sides of the argument. Also, we meet our first dragon. He's not the most menacing of dragons, but he is a dragon in the scene.
Hey, do you ever meet any ogres?
Yes.
Good, because I don't want this to be like a Dungeons and Dragons thing where you don't see any dragons or any dungeons. Just wrong.
There's all sorts. There will be some sorts of dungeons. There's a lot of like optional stuff as you go on. So here we see our little friend over there. So this is a sort of mechanic. You know when we first rescued Donatello?
Yep.
And we had to sort of rescue him before he got knocked down. Otherwise he leaves, he dies, like he can permanently die. So you can see the power of a dragon there. He just went, yeah, I'm not going to take any damage from you. And so now we have this character, this new unknown warrior, and Sistina. She's a long way away. So now we have to like try and salvage a rescue mission. Of course, the AI doesn't think like that. She just keeps fighting. She doesn't know that we're here to help yet. So these missions are like, you kind of love to hate them. We talked once or twice a while ago about like rescue missions and escort missions. Well, these are like those. It's fun to try and rescue new and interesting characters, especially like properly named ones, fully fleshed out ones, but it's also like a pain in the ass because they're the hardest missions to succeed in.
Definitely.
So I think the strategy in most cases like this is basically send our flying man, Canopus, over there as quick as possible just to draw fire.
Yeah.
It's like add some more meat to the table and then maybe they won't all attack her. And then obviously Donalto is going over that way towards there to try and give some more healing support. I wanted to talk about Leonard, but I kind of missed his turn. He's got like 4 yellow squares around him. That's an ability or a skill called Rampant Aura. And so what it means is that if you step on those squares, that sort of ends your movement. You can't walk past it. So it's cool for your knights can get it. So it's cool, like in this case, that barbarian, if he wants to try and get to our backline, he has to do like a wide arc around Leonard. You can't walk directly next to him. And so if you get like a couple of knights in battle, they can really hold the front line. It's really good. That was really good stun. Dragons are, like, all the beasts in this game are really hard. But they're really interesting to try and level because they have the same leveling system as all your characters. So if you get, like, say I were to capture this dragon, which I won't be able to do here, but say I got one, it would be like level 1. So then I would have to somehow train it up while the rest of my party is like level, what are we now, 5, 6? So,
yeah.
5. This, like at the moment we've got sort of Vice, Leonard, and Sistina, and Quechua, and they're all doing their own thing. You sort of get out of that as the battle goes on. I think this is just at the start of the game, they give you a bit of sort of help get through. It's always annoying having characters who are in the battle who you don't control though, in my opinion, because
they walk into places you don't want them.
Yeah, you spend more of the game trying to adjust your strategy to combat their moves rather than actually just executing a strategy. So it's like, I would love to just wall up in front of this dragon and just chip at it because I know it's going to be hard to kill. But Leonard's like, I'm going to charge this barbarian at the back line. Probably shouldn't have shot there because if you don't shoot, your turn comes around quicker. But, oh well. I just wanted him out of the way. The Valkyries and Rune Fencers, they're the same class, just male and female. They have a lot more mobility, so they can like jump things like that, whereas some other characters would struggle. I don't think Knights are very mobile. They can only sort of go up one level of elevation, they can't wade through water and stuff. Whereas Rune Fencers being sort of all everything. I don't know, just make a mistake there and heal nothing.
Yep.
Yeah. I do that.
You just stole that item.
I looked before at that other class, the guy next to Vice, not the dragon. The Beast Tamer, which is a new class. So their thing is they actually can give buffs to beasts. So if the dragon was already strong enough, you could get a boost to attack, defense, movement, whatever from the Beastmaster. Which is actually pretty cool. Like, you don't need a Beastmaster to manage a beast if you have it. If you have it, he just fights in your team.
Yeah.
But having a class that buffs them because they're so strong, like this whole team's strategy is based around this dragon. They don't have that much of a front line. They just have the dragon. And they have so much trouble trying to kill it. And then they heal it. They have multiple healers. And I just last point, and then we'll maybe go on to some other things. Starting to build just the tiniest little glimmer of what do you call it, like uniqueness or individuality in some of our units. So you can see our archer here is what are the names always escape me today? Our archer, it's like Martine, I think. I gave her the great bow, which extends her range, but it means she can't shoot near, if you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
it makes her range 4 to 6 instead of 3 to 5 or something like that. And so we're sort of marking in a bit of individuality now. We're saying, well, alright, she's the long range archer and the other one's a short range archer. So if I think they're going to rush us, I need the short range archer. And the other one is clerics. So Donalto has a stat which I looked up off screen that gives him sort of more evasion or a more chance to evade attacks. And so I've pulled him. I use him as like the frontline cleric. If I want someone to get in there who I think is going to take some damage, I try and throw him in there. Whereas if I have a case where I can put a wall up and I just need someone to sit at the back and heal, that's what I use Friedzwide for. That name. And so that's why Donalto's in this one, because I wanted him to rush to the front line and help Sistina out. And so that's like the sort of little details in how you, I don't know, maybe you don't have to play that way, but that's the way I like playing, where everyone has sort of their own individual role and everyone's sort of interesting, unique in their own way. And what I really want to do at some point is go through some of our main characters just to, I don't know, create a bit of personalization in the videos and help me remember the names and, you know, it's like, oh, we need to do this. Who should we call on? It'd be cool if we knew that rather than just have Mage 1, Mage 2, Mage 3, sort of things like that.
I don't know. Mage 1, Mage 2, Mage 3 has a uniqueness of its own.
I wish you could rename some of these guys. Maybe I could have when I first hired them. I didn't really look. I don't know. I think you might just have to take what you're given.
What are you doing? Got a 2-range melee attack?
Yeah, I know.
there we go.
Terrible. This wizard is so powerful.
Ouch.
So that's Janus. Changed him from a warrior to a barbarian, so he's like a level behind. He just eats so much damage. He'll be cool when he's up to speed, but you have to like tutor people like that, you know, and sort of bring them into the fold. It's kind of good though in a way. Like it feels like a real army, you know. And as you grow and you get more classes and stuff like that, it's cool. This is annoying. It's like I just got Sistina a couple of heals and then she runs right back into the middle of the fray, where all the wizards can shoot her, and all the the dragon and all the Valkyries and the knights can walk up and punch her, and all the archers can shoot her. It's so frustrating. Fortunately, she's a good level, she doesn't take too much damage. The other thing you might see as this battle goes on, like, there's different, I mean, it's common for this sort of thing, but each weapon has an attack type, so we're using swords that have slashing damage.
Yeah.
And I think as the fight goes on, I go to Voltaire, because he has a hammer, I get to use his crushing damage instead, it deals more to the dragon.
Oh, okay.
So I think that's just not doing anything. So it's like, with all the archery and all that, it's all piercing or slicing damage or something like that, and the dragon scales it too hard, whereas crushing is just like, well, you're just gonna like try and concuss it, so
yeah,
that's why your crushing damage is, that's the theory behind the crushing damage dealing more. So it's kind of cool too, it's good to have an assortment of weapons, just an extra layer of strategy to have in the mix. You can't just say, oh, I want my whole team to be swords people, because then you get absolutely stuck. And it makes a big difference between, like, you can have bows and crossbows, so it's cool in that regard too. The other thing I'm totally hanging on is Ketua. She's got an offensive spell, but I don't think she's a high enough level to use it. Can't wait till she starts shooting people. You need that sort of off-cut mage. Ketua's a priest, I think, not a cleric. It's a different class. And so the clerics can't use offensive magic, whereas she can. So she's like just a handy thing to like a handy character to have. And so anyway, that's all bits and pieces going on. I don't want to talk too much about the games all the time, but this is a cool little mission. We get to meet a dragon, a couple of extra classes, and we meet like another character that we're going to save who, you know, obviously every character we save has some influence on our story and our journey. right at the start, we saw I had a choice to basically throw her to the wind or actually commit to trying to save her, which was cool too. So, a few little story game elements.
Yeah.
Other than that, I think we were going to go on. We were talking about Civilizations last time.
We were.
We were going to recap. Maybe what we'll do to sort of finish off where we're going is go through the major parts of Civ 5 and maybe just talk about if they were an upgrade or a downgrade from Civ 4.
Well, I mean, we really covered all the downgrades, I think, when we last talked about it, because we talked about the combat.
Combat,
And that was
downgrade,
yeah, and
happiness,
global happiness and research.
And religion was also a downgrade, in my opinion. Religion in Civs 4, just to wrap that up, is like something that's there and interesting, and you can use it and do well. In Civs 5, your game almost hinges. It's like you draw a line down the middle, and you either have religion focus or you don't.
Yeah.
And no feature in a game with like 4 or 5 win conditions should have such an impactful one like that, if you know what I mean.
Oh yeah, religion in Civs 5 is huge.
Right.
Did you want to talk about that or civics first? Because they're both pretty big topics.
Yeah, let's go civics versus social policies, hey?
So, in Civs 4, you had civics, which we explained in the previous video. It was just a series of options. You always had 5 of them, and there was 5 groups, and each group had 5 options. So 25 options all up, so to speak, but you only had 5 at a time, 1 for each group. And you pretty much just went down the tree over time. Not quite, like you did some choices, but it was mostly just that. That wasn't so great. And then Civ 5, brought out social policies, which was actually really great. Basically, you generate culture, and culture allows you to unlock social policies, which give you small boosts. Like they might give you more culture, more food, they might allow you to access religion or make you fight better. It gave you lots of little things, and since everyone got it, it gave you sort of a way to develop your nation on your own.
Right. I think the main thing that was different is like in Civs 4 they said here's your government thing, here's your 5 options for government, here's your religion, here's your 5 options for, and I'm not saying 5 religions, 5 options of how
you conduct your religion.
Yeah, I think I used a better phrase for it last video, but I forget. How you practice
is it free religion? I think pacifism was one of them.
Yeah.
Things like that.
And then, so those sort of things. In Civs 5, they actually created the social policies, and they still have trees, and each tree has like 6 options, but and not 6 options, but 6 parts in the tree. But the trick is that the trees were not here's all your government options. They were all like focused on a particular thing. So you picked, I want to focus on commerce, so I'm going to go into that tree. Whereas in Civs 4, you would have a list of like how you manage your country, and being a commerce or trade sort of state was one of your government managing options, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you could choose to be like a police state, and then you'd get military and spying focus.
Right, and how that would impact would be like, you'd go, alright, I want to focus on science for a bit, so you'd change some of your civics to fit a science build. And that's fine, but that's it. Then you're stuck. In Civ 5, you can say, I'm going to go into rationalism, which is your science and R&D kind of tree. And you go, that's cool, but you can also then say, but I got enough time to also focus on economy, so I can go into a commerce tree. And so you can custom build how much you want to commit to each of the sections and each of the features and each of the win conditions in the game. So Civ 5 really made that a bit smoother in my opinion.
Yeah. The other great thing about Civs 5's social policies was as you progressed in the game, you unlocked more. And yeah, it let you really customize the direction you want to go. But they introduced ideologies at the end of this, and ideologies was sort of the same thing, but bigger, and you could only access them right at the end of the game, and it allowed you to basically go into your win condition much more easily, and you would pressure each other's civs with your ideologies and dump unhappiness on people who were getting pressured the most. And the way to resist pressure was having lots of culture. So it was very, like, it gave an extra element of depth later on.
Right, it's definitely, it actually is probably best explained if you think of the real world. If you imagine, if you say Western culture is the, and this is going to be offensive, but it's like the American English style of living. That's obviously, like I say, very general. Western culture, and its influence, like there's a lot of Western culture now slowly seeping into Asia and stuff. And yeah, sure, their culture is coming to us as well, right? And this is the concept of ideologies. You know, they go, this is the way we want to live, whether it be like order and more regimented, or more free or liberal, and then they say, now how much are we going to just stick to what we do? How much further is in how we're going, and how much is from other people impacting that and influencing us? How much are we going to let in?
And then, I think, but the main thing to also look at here is, as they released expansions, the what were the social policies? I keep calling them civics. The social policies were really, like, more and more developed, and as unfortunately one part of the game sort of is a big detriment, and that's, I was talking to one of our friends, our mutual friend Warlemming, about this, specifically about rationalism. And rationalism, so in a tree, you might have, like, it covers 4 or 5 different things. It has, like, a central idea, like it's going to improve your money or your culture or generation or something like that. But most of them do it in multiple ways. Like, you'll get happiness from some things, you get research from other things, and culture from other things. In rationalism, all it does is give you science, and it gives you so much science that it completely breaks the game. Basically, it's mandatory, and it's really, really bad. We were actually discussing how much better the game would have been if they removed rationalism entirely, because then you wouldn't have rationalism for a start, so you'd be more encouraged to pick other trees around it and sort of develop them.
Yeah.
So in a way, social policies as a concept was really good and fun, but one tree sort of broke the game
in
and really just...
Well, I mean, the other way of looking at it too is, like, the commerce and the exploration trees are really lackluster. And so,
well,
I guess what I'm saying is, for every bit that rationalism is too strong, something like exploration is too weak. You know, they're like
you say that. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, is things like commerce, exploration, patronage, and aesthetics, they're all around even. It's just rationalism is so much better.
Aesthetics is kind of really good.
Yeah.
Like, the problem is that I think exploration and commerce are too weak in comparison. And the other thing is the timing of the game you get them, because you get them in that order. You get aesthetics pretty quick, and then you get commerce and exploration, and then later you get rationalism, and the timing that you typically go through the trees, you don't use those two in the middle.
I agree, but if you look at it from, like, how the game plays out, if you are focusing on getting more culture, you will, by the time you finish your first social policy tree, you'll have access to patronage or aesthetics. So if you're going into culture, you can more access those trees. Like, you'll start going into one of them probably. But if you don't focus into culture and you sort of lag on it a bit, by the time you finish your first social policy tree, commerce and exploration will typically be available, which suits, because someone who isn't going into patronage or aesthetics typically wants more money or production or happiness that commerce and exploration bring. And they don't bring terrible things, it's just they're a bit more specific. Like, you have to have sort of played with them in mind.
Right. I think
But yeah,
just with aesthetics
rationalism is
helping you get culture though, which helps you get more social policies, I still think that's stronger. Commerce is alright.
Yeah.
Exploration is kind of very
I'd need to
specific.
look. I'd need to look through exploration. It's got +3 production from coastal cities, which is decent, and then it's got that really great one, which is +2 happiness from each luxury resource, which is great because that can be like an immediate 10 or more happiness
Right.
for your Civ. But yeah, I'd have to have a look through it, really.
Yeah,
And
the problem is it's literally for exploration, but by the time you get it, you've seen most of the map.
mm,
You get bonus vision or movement to see units. You might be able to get some more trade things, but it's not powerful enough in trade to rival commerce.
and another thing we didn't really mention about Civs 5 in general is you don't really expand towards the end of the game. Like, you don't keep taking cities.
No.
You'll typically get 4 or 5 if you're doing a normal sort of strategy. You might go 6 or 7 or 8 if you're feeling really bold. But you typically really won't build that many cities, and you especially won't build them late, because you have to fill them with so many buildings. You need to get, a granary, a light or water mill, a stadium, all these different things to make the city sort of cope on its own. And getting that late game is just really, it doesn't help you. The other thing to mention is each time you build a new city, it cuts into your culture, because it raises how much culture you must earn before you get another social policy,
Game
which can be
definitely
really
punishes
bad.
you for growing too big.
Yeah. So yeah, overall, social policies was like a really good idea, but sort of a swing and a miss just in execution.
Right.
They got it so close, and I honestly think if they just removed rationalism, the game would be like perfect. Like, that aspect of the game would be perfect, because then you've got your 4 early trees, and then you've got your 4 like middle of the game trees, and then you've got your 3 ideologies, which is just, it'd be like a progression of the game. You can sort of pick how you want to start up your nation, and then pick what you sort of want to go into when you are looking to win, or what you think your nation needs, and then your ideology would allow you to pick how you're trying to win. And I
Right.
think that'd be a great sort of structure.
I think most of it's good. It's definitely a step up from Civs 4.
Yeah.
The point is that I think in Civs 4 you were supposed to chop and change a lot, and in Civs 5 you feel like you're always going forward. It's a big difference.
Yeah. Definitely.
You're building towards the end product instead of being like, oh, I need this for these 5 minutes, and then I need to change for the next 5 minutes, and then I should probably change again.
It also meant in Civs 5 you built a custom nation. If you went into tradition and your opponent went into liberty and another opponent went into honor, that was 3 different ways to play the game.
Right.
And that was 3 different kingdoms that would come out of that, or empires or whatever. 3 different Civs would emerge from that. Whereas in Civs 4, you didn't really play a Civ based off your civics. You just sort of played, and civics boosted you in a very small way. It didn't change your playstyle too much.
Yeah. Well, I think we've done quite a lot on social policies. What else in Civs 5 were we going to talk about to wrap off
That-
what was improved?
That would be religion. Religion being
Well, we kind of
really-
mentioned that at the start, yeah? Is there much else to add? Like, it's more impactful.
Well, I mean, the thing about how religion works is a city can only have one religion, and it puts out pressure of the religion it has on other cities. It can have multiple religions in the sense that there are many followers of different religions, but it only really uses the benefits of the main religion in it. So, if you have a religion, you want your religion in every city in the world, because then you will get all the benefits from all of that. And the pressure all these cities will be putting out will be massive for your religion. But competing for religion was kind of just awful because of that same problem. The same thing is you have to out-pressure your opponents, and it just wasn't fun to do. And the other thing is religion had many very impactful benefits that could really win you the game on its back. There were some things that were like, get a free, buy freaking research buildings with faith, which is the resource religion gives you, and just other things like that that really could put you way in the lead just because you got a religion.
Yeah, and
so
because
it's sort
you're
of-
always taking the
yeah.
majority religion, like you said, because each religion typically scaled based on the number of followers it had worldwide. It made it almost something like you can play games without religion, but practically it's not easy to win against someone who has religion.
It's just a large advantage to that person, especially with some of the things that give you religion. Some early game things, such as desert folklore, which gives you faith from desert tiles, or the Stonehenge, could easily just put your religion ahead of anyone else, and they couldn't compete, not without really focusing on it. So it was very easy for your religion to get ahead and stay ahead.
Yeah, and as you said, trying to compete with religion, we said at the start, like, religion is very, oh crikey, it's like you either are or you aren't. It splits the game in half, and if you are, you spend a huge part of the game focusing on getting ahead in religion and fighting to keep your religion relevant and all that stuff, whereas you don't really want to be doing that. You just want religion to be on the side and give you boost if you have it. It takes so much focus away from everything else. I really don't enjoy battling for religions. I don't think anyone does. Like you said, you need followers to create pressure, and then you need to send people out to get more followers, and if it doesn't snowball for you, you can just battle the whole time. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's sort of just
And religion isn't a win condition either, so it's just an influence thing to help you with your other win conditions. So it's like a sideshow. It's like it's taking up half my game almost.
But the problem is, as a sideshow, it can still completely control the game.
That's my point. So it shouldn't.
Yeah,
it's not that interesting. So it's like Civics in the sense that the power of religion going up is sort of okay, but the way you have to battle for it and the way it was executed in Civs 5 is just poor.
I found religion to be interesting, but at the same time, it sort of feels separate to the rest of the game mechanics. You know how, if you get money, you can spend that money on buildings, or you can spend it on military. If you get research, you can research things that support, the acquisition of money, food, military, things like that.
Right.
And if you get food, then you're helping your nation grow, so you're helping getting stuff. Religion's sort of in its own bubble. If you get faith, you can only spend it on faith things, and those faith things contribute mostly just to more faith until you get very specific boosts. Like, you can choose to get money from your religion, but money doesn't interact with religion. It's just your religion is in a bubble, and so your faith sort of boosts your faith. Like, you can buy faith buildings, but it's not the same sort of organic interaction as the rest of the game. Like, it doesn't all feed into itself. And if you don't have a religion, you get none of these interactions. You just don't get to really get involved on that level.
It's cutting a line down the middle of the game. You're either playing the religion game or you're not.
Yeah.
And that's bad for a game that's supposed to be about customizing your path to victory.
Yeah. I had a couple other final points, if you had nothing else. Yeah, so the first one was trading. Trading post was interesting in Civs 4. There was basically no concept of trade routes.
Right.
You did have trade routes, but they didn't. It was just more, you're connected. Yeah, you didn't manage them. You just got sort of money for your trade routes. In Civs 5, you do manually manage your trade routes, and at first I really hated it because you didn't get a lot of money unless you managed your trade routes. But nowadays I'm actually sort of a bit more open to it, and I do feel it's not too bad an idea.
I like it. You gotta protect them, so you need to keep the paths clear, and you can boost the money in your town to help boost the power of the trade routes, etc. It's good.
Yeah, and the last thing I really wanted to cover the topic of was multiplayer. In multiplayer of Civs 5, it's just terrible. We've had so many issues with it. From the start is, if you have a religion and your friend has a religion, your religions still compete. So if your friend just happens to have a more dominant religion than your religion, you just don't get to enjoy your religion.
Even if you're
And it
allies,
just-
right? That's the point.
Yeah, and it just generates a really negative feeling. Also,
The problem is, right, we go into games and say there's three
Yeah.
of us, and one goes, I'm doing religion, another goes, I'm doing culture, and then, like, you can't fight over those things, like, because if you
Yeah,
do,
you
you
can't
end
really
up
do them.
stumbling over
Yeah.
the building paths you want to make, and it sucks. It sucks. If you're in a normal game, you're like, I want to go into culture, and I want to get these buildings, and this is important, and fighting at this time is
Yeah.
important. Playing in multiplayer doesn't really accommodate everyone's individual paths like that, and it really hurts. Hurts the
And then
fun.
on the flip side, we played versus once, and that was just a truly awful experience because someone got ahead, like quite significantly ahead, and it was just too hard to topple them because of their technological advantage. And then when we actually got into the combat of the game sort of just locked up, and you don't get to play when it's not your turn in combat, and that's just really unfun.
And
Anyway, that's all I wanted to add.
just to quickly wrap that off, in multiplayer, like, multiplayer Civs should be fun. It's fun chatting with the people you're playing with. It's fun, like, going to war and fighting with your friends and trying to defeat other enemies and stuff, and that's cool. But as soon as you take that element of teamwork away and you're, like, trying to be sneaky about what you're trying to do and not tell people because you're enemies, you lose all that fun to it, hey?
Yeah.
Anyway, we will be back in episode 8. Episode 8 will probably be a bit longer, just because of the nature of the quest. We're going to go talk to the Dark Knights of Lotus, and we will catch you guys then to see what happens then, alright?
Yeah.
Okay, see you later.
Oh wait, we forgot city-states.
Well, they're not important. Who cares about them? See you guys later, hey?
Bye.